I was on holiday recently, and me, my wife, my brother-in-law and his girlfriend all decided to go for a hike. We're in the Cotswolds in the UK, so the terrain is pretty hilly and the view is very, very scenic. And nearby to where we were staying, there was a viewpoint that overlooked all of the surrounding countryside. So we decided we were going to hike up to this viewpoint at the top of the hill and then do a circular walk to get back to where we were staying. As we weren't local to the area, we got some maps to help to navigate where we were going, and I got charged with giving directions. To start off with, all was going well. In fact, we managed to make it to the top of the hill with no wrong turns. The climb had been pretty steep and we were all quite tired by the time we got to the top, but it was well worth it for the views. And I'm just using a map on my phone, a screenshot of their website to navigate us. So it's not like I've got a little person kind of coming up on my map to track exactly where we are. I'm just going off roughly where the footpaths are and where the landmarks are. Anyway, we set off back down the hill, and as I said, we were doing a circular walk, so we were going in a different direction, a different route on the way home. And we've been walking for some time, and I had been checking the map, but I realised we'd gone one field too far. We'd gone a little bit further than we should have. And so I had to hold my hand up and say, we should have turned left at this last field. And I got the usual moans and grumbles from the group, but we headed back and made it back down onto the path that we should have been on. And a little while later, we're walking through an area of woodland, and there's a signpost for the Cotswold Way pointing in one direction, and so naturally we all just follow that, thinking that was the path that we were supposed to be on. And we probably walked for half a mile up this path before we steadily started going back uphill again. And I thought to myself, well, we shouldn't really be going back uphill, because where we were staying was in the bottom of a valley. And so I'm thinking to myself, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel like we're going where we're supposed to. Check the map again, and we're going the wrong way. But I couldn't even see where the turning was that we should have taken until we retraced our steps and found that it was back to where this signpost was that had been pointing us in one direction, and there was a little path off to the other side that we should have taken to get back to where we were staying. And when I realised this, it kind of dawned on me that sometimes we take our sense of direction, the route that we are on, is not necessarily the way we're supposed to be going. We see signposts in our life to perhaps a destination that we think we should be on. We think we should be on this path, but actually our path veers off from the common way, from the route that's walked by everybody else. And when we recognise that, when we see that maybe our path isn't the well-trodden path, it's that path off to one side that's actually going to get us back to where we're supposed to be. It's going to get us to where we are supposed to go. These times in our lives where we find that sense of direction and we give it to ourselves, we don't seek this sense of direction from the world around us, but actually we look at our own internal map, our own internal compass, and think, is this the way I'm supposed to be going? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this right for me? You see, we could have very easily carried on that pathway. We could have thought, this is the way that we're supposed to be going. This is the way that, this is the way that the signpost said for us to go. But we were going uphill. We were going in the wrong direction. We weren't headed to our destination. And I find often in life we can take those wrong routes, we can take those wrong paths. And it is frustrating when you recognise that you're on one. You recognise that, I've been spending far too much time playing on my PlayStation. I've been spending far too much time scrolling on social media, watching YouTube videos. And actually, this path isn't right for me. This path is keeping me from getting to my destination, keeping me from getting to where I want to go. And it's really important that when you recognise those things, you do take immediate action and turn around, retrace your steps and get back on the route. Because the further you go down the wrong path, the longer and longer you postpone yourself from getting back to where you need to be. You make the journey longer than it needs to be. So how do we identify that direction in our life? How do we identify where we're supposed to be going? Well, I think for many of us, it can be quite a difficult thing to do, and often you maybe have a sense of direction, but you follow that for a little while, and then those outside influences come in, the signposts, the different places, and you end up heading down. You lose your focus, you end up heading down a different route. In fact, I had this exact same issue recently, and I was speaking to my coach, and he was saying that, oftentimes our emotions and the response to that journey that we're on can be where we kind of lose focus. If you're getting disheartened at your progress, then it can be very easy to start focusing on different things. You lose that sense of direction, you start taking other paths, and until you recognise, those feelings are valid, but I still need to come back and to keep going in the direction that I need to be. I need to come back to being centred and to being grounded in what it is that I know I need to do. And if you're unsure of what that is for you, then I'd really encourage you to start journaling. Just to write a stream of conscious into a journal, onto a page. Let your thoughts kind of spell out on the page. It's very interesting that we have so many thoughts come into our head every day. We have so much information pumped at us that I think oftentimes we kind of ended up feeling very sluggish and very bloated in our thoughts, because we've just got so much stuff coming in that we can't process it properly. We can't process it to a point where it allows us to kind of see the wood for the trees, really. And so when you start to journal, when you start to put those thoughts down on a page, it can really help to give you that map that you're looking for. It can point you to those things, if something is coming up again and again and again that in your journaling, and you think, well, I haven't really addressed this for the last few weeks, but it's been a recurring thought, a recurring issue that's come up, then it's likely that is the direction that you're meant to go in. It's your subconscious speaking to you to say, this is the way to go. So I'd really encourage you to start journaling if you feel a bit lost, if you feel like you haven't got that sense of direction. And even if you do have that sense of direction, I also find that journaling is really key and really helpful for me to keep me on that path. Once you know where you're headed, you have to keep checking the map regularly, or you will make those wrong turns. Now, if you want help with kind of building journaling into your life in a healthy and sustainable way, along with some other habits that are really going to help you to make the right steps to follow the path that you should be on, then check out the links in the description. There's a couple of resources down there that I use on a day-to-day basis to keep me on track as best I can and to stop me from taking those wrong turns. And I think they'll be really valuable to you too. So if that sounds of interest, as I say, check out the links in the description. Thanks ever so much for watching, and until next time, take care.